Hello everyone, my name is Sarah Cahill and welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time since I have done something stupid. And by something stupid, I mean some insane writing challenge that will push me and my limits to the absolute most that they could possibly be. This one though is, I already regret it. I regret everything. This month I will be officially taking part in the 24-hour novel challenge, where it is exactly as it sounds. The challenge is to write a novel in 24 hours, a 50,000 word novel in 24 hours. You can see where the regret begins. I am not the only person who is doing this challenge, thankfully, because I don't know how I would survive not being a part of the writing community during what would be this most stressful time. It runs between the 17th and the 19th of June, which also happens to be the weekend of the Storytellers Hearth Write-a-thon, so we're going to have lots of chances to actually get some good writing in. My plan is to do the 24 hours straight from 3 a.m. on Saturday 17th to 3 a.m. Sunday the 18th. I don't know why I decided to do it like that. I decided to do it like that because I don't do research and I don't read properly. I read a 24-hour novel and I thought, oh, 50,000 words in 24 hours, 24 continuous hours. So my brain sort of latched onto that and started planning everything that I would have to do. And then later I found out that, you know, you could do it like 12 hours one day and 12 hours another day, or 3 days of 8 hours to make up the 24 hours in the 3-day period. Despite learning that information, my brain will not let me change my mind about doing it 24 hours continuously. So it's going to be a very, very fun weekend. And I use the word fun very, very loosely. Today, my plan is simple. I need to outline the novel that I'm going to be working on. And I suck at outlining in the way that I can outline, but I end up outlining very, very basically. Like, my scenes, as I outline them, will have like 3 words or a very short sentence describing what needs to happen in that scene. And then I roll with it when I'm writing. This is 50,000 words in 24 hours. I can't afford to be sitting here trying to decide what it is I need to write for these scenes. So I need to outline, as in very, very detailed, go through every single thing that needs to happen in every single scene. This is what the scene entails. These are the things that I go through. This is the order of the events in that scene. Maybe throw in a couple of bits of dialogue if I have that floating around in my head at the time. But there needs to be enough for me to not have to sit and wonder what I need to write next. It is already there, planned for me. I get very bored outlining this way. And my brain always wants to skip the planning and go straight to the actual writing, which is why I can never get into the full details of the outlining that I need to do. No. The next week leading up to the 24-hour novel challenge, my brain needs to work differently. And I need to be bothered to enforce it consistently working differently, which is a challenge in itself. I'm working on a new novel for this challenge. It is a novel which, ironically, I had just about started brainstorming, like casually in between working on all my other projects. I was scrolling through my phone, scrolling through all of the old notes I have in my notes app, and I came across this description and I was like, oh right, I forgot that was a really good idea that I had for a story. So I sort of started playing around with the idea before I decided to do the challenge itself. So now this is the story that I'm going to write for that challenge. A bit serendipitous, really, if I'm using that word correctly, which I'm not 100% sure that I am. It is a YA urban fantasy, because when do I ever write anything other than a YA or some sort of fantasy? Abingdon House not included. The note that I had on my app is as follows. Girl accidentally finds herself in a magic competition where if she is discovered to have no magic, she will be killed. And then along the way, she finds out that her father donated her body to science when she died at 6 years old. And the institution who is experimenting on her has been hunting her down since she went missing. That is what I had sort of in my notes app and where this whole idea has spawned from. So I've already set up my Scrivener with K.M. Wayland's 3-act method. That is the method that I'm going to be using to outline my novel. Usually I use Save the Cat when I'm a little less sure of the plot, or the plot is going to be a little bit more complicated. I like using the 3-act method because it's got 18 key plot points in it that sort of help me pinpoint where everything in the novel needs to go a bit better than Save the Cat does. I've gone into full detail mode with this. I have the percent of the 50,000 words where each of these 18 plot points hit. I have how many words need to be within each of these 18 sections. Have sort of come up with all of the scenes that I feel I need in the story and have put them into each of those sections. And I have planned out in my writing planner, hour by hour, and I'll show you in a second, exactly where in the novel I need to be at a specific moment in time during the day, just so I know that I am keeping track of what it is that I need to do. And I'm doing that because I'm not going to be tracking my word count. That sounds really stupid, and it is really stupid, but I'm doing it for a very good reason. 50,000 words in 24 hours is 2,083 words every single hour. And I stopped tracking my word count this year because I realized that holding myself to a word count was just stressing me out way more than I needed to be stressed out. And it was sort of making me be like, oh, well, I only wrote 500 words today. That's really crap. So I was basing my sort of self-worth as a writer and the progress I was making on the words that I wrote. Now, I could have been focused on my writing for 2 hours that day, which is really, really good. But if I didn't write enough words, that's not good. So scrap the word counts. I literally just focus on how long I'm writing for per day, or focusing on writing per day. It's made me a lot happier. I'm not going to change that now, even though this is really a word count focused challenge. So yeah, my word count will be hidden from me. The only way I'll know how well I'm doing is by what scene I happen to be on. I don't think I have quite 50 scenes set up, but in my head, if I do 1,000 words per scene, that is 50,000 words. Again, I'm not counting my word count, so that's going to be a complete surprise to me after the 24 hours is up to see how well I did. But I feel that's going to be best for a challenge like that, so I'm not stressing myself out too much or getting anxious about whether or not I'm falling behind, or if I'm going to win, or, you know, anything like that, even though winning is not important and it's just about the taking part that matters. And everything that you say for NaNoWriMo, it also applies to this as well, okay? So going back to my plan for today, I want to finish at least the very basic outline for every single sort of 18 sections as the outline. And then once I've done that and I sort of know where the story's going, I can then sort of reset my Scrivener up scene by scene and then flesh out all of the scenes as I need to. This is the current setup that I have for tracking what I do. I know that I wanted sort of where I need to go and what I need to hit at certain points during the day to know that I'm keeping myself on track. Only the really, really important ones though. And then I also wanted something to colour in, something to sort of visualise the progress that I'm making that is not on my screen. And because I wasn't doing word count, I couldn't be like, oh, for every 1,000 words, let me colour in a square. That won't work. So I've got one square for one scene. So every time I feel I'm finished with a scene, I can colour one of those in and I can sort of see that fill up with colour throughout the day to sort of get me more motivated. And this is my dumb-ass timeline with my 2,083 words per hour. So we'll obviously begin at 3 a.m. I should be hitting the inciting incident at 5 a.m. I should be hitting midpoint at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Third plot point, I should be at 9 o'clock in the evening. I should be doing the resolution, which is the final scene, starting at 2 o'clock in the morning to finish at 3. So again, I've really planned this out so I know that I'm hitting everything, and that's just how my brain is going to work its best when I have a lot of stuff to do. Arbitrary you know, points to hit throughout the day, which don't really matter in the general scheme of things, but they will matter to my brain. I'm also putting into play a good, better, best goal because, you know, I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be able to hit 50,000 words, but I don't want to feel like I, you know, did a terrible job. So good, better, best is basically 3 different goals that if you hit throughout the day, you've done a good job. So my good goal will be 20,000 words. My better goal will be like 35,000 words, and my best would obviously be 50,000 words. So, you know, as long as I hit that lower end, the 20,000 words, that is my goal. It's my good goal, and I have succeeded, and I can give myself like a proper win. And I realise I keep getting distracted because I've said like 2 or 3 times now, this is what I'm going to do today, and I'm still talking. So we are going to stop the British ramble, and we are going to get to, you know, doing the thing that I am filming for, because I have a lot of work to do over the next 7, 8, 9 days, and I would rather go into it feeling confident that I have enough written rather than going into it thinking it's not good enough and I'm going to struggle. So I'm going to postpone starting again because I'm going to get myself some tea and then we shall begin. Before I started filming today, I'd already sort of basically set up the first 7 cluster of events, which sort of takes us all just over a quarter of the way through Act 2. I have just been sort of working on the realisation which is leading up to the midpoint, which has gone quite well. I've done 581 words of that so far. There's nothing that I need to sort of add to that for now. I may go back and add some specific conversation points between the characters because there's some B story in there, some getting to know the other characters sort of thing. And heading into the midpoint, which is going to be a very weird one to try and figure out how I want it to go. I have a very basic premise for the midpoint. During this magic competition that my character finds herself in, they are given a different set of tasks to complete, and each task they complete, they get awarded a set of points, and then obviously whoever has the most points at the end is the winner of the competition. And she sort of has to hide the fact that she has no magic, so she has to sort of pretend that she does have magic and sort of mimic what everyone else is doing. It's not showy magic, it's more subtle magic that everyone else has, which is helpful. And the premise of the midpoint, which is the task where things go wrong, is what I have dubbed the animal task. And all I have in my head is something goes wrong in this animal task, and the main character is the one who sort of diffuses the situation that happens. I need to figure out what the task is, what the animal is, what the situation is that unfolds, how she rectifies that situation in a better way than any of the other actual magic users could diffuse that situation. Which means I have to research magical animals, which I don't really want to do because that's long and my brain hates research. The midpoint is also supposed to be where the main character learns some truth about the nature of the conflict, which is an aspect of the plot I don't think I've come up with yet. So I went with a griffin in the end. I feel that a griffin is not as, you know, overused as, you know, a unicorn or dragon or anything like that, but it's also recognisable to a lot of people. And from deciding I was going to use a griffin, I sort of then came up with the aspect of the event, which is probably a very cliched event, of retrieve gold nuggets which are buried in the ground. Obviously the griffin would then pose some sort of threat to everybody, and then, you know, everything goes from there. So I have sort of gone through the midpoint and what I want in a midpoint very basically now. It took a while to decide how the main character is going to stop this griffin from doing the damage that it is causing, and how she was going to calm the griffin down. And I sort of was like, how do you escape like an angry eagle? How do you escape an angry lion? Like, trying to use actual points of nature and, you know, things that in our reality we would do to sort of save off or protect ourselves from an attack of those type of creatures. And was just like, yeah, she just does that. So I'm gonna have a very, you know, big part of this where she's just yelling and screaming and waving her hands about, like trying to intimidate this griffin to stop it from doing what it's doing. That's gonna be very, very interesting to do. But the midpoint is done. I also started then working on after the midpoint, so, you know, halfway through to 3/4 of the way through Act 2, in which I have sadly realised that I really need to work on the mystery aspect of this plot a little bit more than I had in my head. Obviously, the fact that she finds herself in a magic competition and she has no magic is the main plot. But her personal motivation is to find her brother who disappeared a few years ago. And she this clue appeared for her to go to this certain place at this certain time. And that clue is what led her to this magic competition that she has unfortunately been entered into. So while she's here, she's taking part in the competition, making sure that no one finds out that she doesn't have magic or she will be killed, while also trying to find out what happened to her brother. And we also have the whole added aspect of the institution that experimented on her when she was a child, who's also searching for her. They are also wrapped up somehow within this magic competition. I realise that I'm free writing a lot while I am doing these outlines. And I'm going back to everything else I've already written for what I've done so far. And I have a lot of free writing in here. It is stuff like, we need to make sure that we add more mystery in searching for clues about her brother, as well as something sinister going on. We need a bad guy, someone behind everything pulling the strings, some sort of antagonist working against the main character. Would this be a physical antagonist or an inner antagonist? Because the actual bad guy doesn't learn about the main character until a lot later in the plot. That's like leading into Act 3. Up until that point, who is the antagonist? Who is working against my main character? What is the antagonistic force that is working against my main character? What is the antagonistic force that is stopping her from doing what she needs to do? I don't have one, and I don't know if it can be someone, I don't know if it should be someone physical, or is it more the antagonistic force is something within herself, is what she's investigating or how she's investigating. Because there's no real sense of stakes at the moment, bar if they find out the truth, you will die. But I haven't focused on that a lot. At least at the moment, I haven't focused on that a lot. So because this 3-act method focuses quite a bit on the battle between the antagonist and the protagonist, I feel at the moment the antagonist is finding her brother and not an actual physical antagonist. And I don't know if that works, and I don't know if that is something which is, I don't want to say acceptable, obviously, in writing. I don't know if that's something that people do. Like, her goal to find her brother feels, or I'm writing her task to find her brother as the antagonist at the moment, is what I feel like I'm doing. And I feel like that's wrong. So But I suppose it's good that I am doing all of the free writing, because I am asking myself these questions consistently to make sure that I do have mystery, backstory, for all of the characters, goals for all of the characters, and sort of giving everything a deeper meaning. So while it's annoying that I'll then have to go through and plot all of the scene but not the free writing is making me think all of these things, which will in turn help create a better, smoothly written novel. And I'm rambling again. But rambling's when I do my best work, because that's how my brain works. Thanks for the assist. I have a sentence which is not finished, and now I'm not going to know what the rest of that sentence was supposed to be, which is terrible. Damn. This is taking a lot longer than I anticipated, and it is not because I am procrastinating. It's a little bit because I'm procrastinating. Let me pause my timer. I've technically only been working for an hour and 15 minutes, and it feels like 5 hours, which is not good, because I'm getting far in what I'm doing, but there's still so much left to do, and I'm like, no, I have to do it today. I don't have to do it all today, to be honest, and I'm probably not going to get it all done today, but I want to at least get to the 3rd plot point, and then I'll maybe stop for today and then do the rest of it tomorrow, which is bad, but I don't quite care. I am on renewed push, which is 62 to 75% of the novel, which is the lead up into the 3rd plot point and the beginning of Act 3, where everything goes down. And completely unintended, I have sort of added an extra scene into the novel, which I'm not mad about. But it's a scene which sort of explains everything. And I don't know how to feel about that. And I don't know how to explain without explaining everything. So what have I explained already? So main character's looking for her brother, or trying to find out what happened to her brother. And over the course of the previous part of the story, if I can remember correctly, she has figured out that he had something to do with the competition that she is in. She has figured out that he entered the competition that she is in, and that was when he went missing. And she has figured out that he has links to the whole science experiment thing. Not that he had anything to do with it, but he was involved in some sort of situation to do with it. Is that everything that she's found out? Yeah, she's found out those 3 things, which say absolutely nothing. Like that, she's not found out anything. Technically, she has not found out anything. I was really sad. I'm just realising that now. Luckily, this new scene goes quite naturally into the 3rd plot point, and it sort of builds upon the tension and the stakes that are going into it. It makes sure that the MC is completely informed about everything that is going on. But now I'm wondering, does she need to be more informed earlier in the novel? Or is it okay that she is sort of, the competition is sort of taken over and she can only investigate and everything so much? Does she find out all of these things naturally and at a good pace? Or is finding out everything officially here too much in one go? Don't know. Don't care. I'll figure it out later. I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to do any more work. Brain cannot handle the work. No. I have finished. What was I doing? Oh, I have finished Renewed Push. I have inserted everything that I need to insert for all of the scenes that I have planned for that section of the novel. I have added, it's not a new scene. It's one of the scenes is the main character loses her necklace. You see what I mean by, like, I outline with like 3 words or something, loses her necklace. Okay, that's not 1,000 words really, is it? I have managed to flesh that out into a little bit more mystery, a little bit more suspicions about characters. There is something there that she does discover, but I haven't quite figured out what it is that she's going to discover that's going to assist her later on in the novel. But everything I think I need for that specific part has been completed. It is done. I did not do the 3rd plot point. Act 3 is going to have to wait for a different day. I am very, very conscious of the fact we do only have 9 days left to, I'll give myself a deadline now, and I don't like that. There is only 9 days left until this is done. I don't particularly want to do any work on the Friday because I am at work all day, and then I've just got a very short time in the evening before I have to go to bed early to wake up for 3 AM on Saturday. So I don't really want to have to do anything on Friday, except maybe read through what I've got and leave it at that. So really I have 8 days to finish the basic plot and then really go into detail with all of the rest of the scenes that I have to do. And I'm going to have to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Technically that is 9 days worth of work if I do 2 sections per day, and there's like 3 to 5 scenes in each one, so I have a lot of work to do. It's fine, we can handle that. That's everything from me today. I don't know how much work I did, I couldn't tell you. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you would ever try the 24-hour novel, and I will see you in my next video. Good thoughts and happy writing.